Okay, Bill Marshall asks, in terms of tailored kilt, which is more historical, a 5-yard or an 8-yard?
Which is more historical, 5-yard or 8-yard?
Yes.
Indeed.
No. Actually.
Yardage of kilts, when they, from the great kilt through the fil beg or fil more down to the fil beg, meaning the half kilt, was a lower yardage kilt. It wasn't a thing. You didn't need that much cloth. You just needed some pleats. So 4-yard kilts were going beyond the great kilt. So when you started with the half kilt or the tailored kilt, the smaller bit, they started off as a lower yardage kilt. So 4 yards. They kind of played around with pleating styles. That's where the Kenyusi pleating came from. Mm-hmm. Was around that kind of time frame. It was the fixtures that attached the kilt or didn't attach the kilt have evolved over time in the same way that the amount of yardage that goes into a kilt evolved over time, and pleating patterns evolved over time from kind of hodgepodge pleat to whatever the hell you want.
We really don't care.
To pleating to the stripe, then pleating to the full set. So it's the more cloth you put into the kilt, the more options you have with things. So the most traditional, meaning, a couple hundred years ago, was less yardage and pleating to the haphazard. Mm-hmm. I think I said recently in a video.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
No, I was going to second that. Basically, it's there's a lot of experimentation once the Highland Revival suit became a thing. So again, we're talking like Regency period through early Victorian, that basically people were just still trying to figure out what's the best way to make this and make it look good on a variety of different bodies. And every tailor in every town was trying something a little different, which is why you have some of the very strange specimens you have like in the National Museum. So the 8-yard was a later evolution. I think we've said like mid to late 19th century, because they figured out the best ways to do it, and they quickly realized we can make this look even cooler by adding more fabric, so you get more of a swish. You give it more body and give it more uniformity and give it just substance
and plate it to the actual set.
So that it was a refinement, and it was definitely one of those, as we so often say, Victorian things that came about. So from that standpoint, less yardage, is more ancient of days. But the 8-yard is also kind of old. I mean, we're talking 150 years.
Yeah, but so. the first kilt did not come out from the mist and come down from the mount exactly as it is now. Like all fashions, all these things have evolved over time, and there's been different stepping stones along the way. The great kilt to the fil-a-more, to the fil-a-beg, to the tailored kilt, to the to playing around with pleating patterns, to playing around with all these different parts of the kilt, to no belt loops, to smaller belt loops, to the bigger belt loops for sporran straps, and it's all these things have evolved over time.
And now you got pockets.
Yeah.
What have we done?
So it's what is more historical? It depends on where you want to point to on the timeline as your area of history you want to emulate. Mm-hmm. What has kind of been codified now for a lot of Highland dress is the peak is like, early 1900s. So 1900s to 1920s, 30s.
Yeah.
That's a lot of it kind of solidified and stuck there. And that's what we think of as traditional now. But there was a whole other spunky
load of noodles.
Spunky load of noodles, a whole different can of worms that existed before the 1920s as well. Yep. So, yeah. So what kind of kilt do you prefer? A shorter yardage 5-yard kilt or a knife-plated full 8-yard kilt? Let me know down in the comments. While you're here, if you don't mind, please give this video a like and subscribe to our channel.